Hey developers, today we are tackling one of the fundamental concepts that trips up a lot of beginners, scopes. Don't worry, by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly where your variables live in your code, from where they can be accessed, and why it matters. So what is scope? Think of scope like a container. Inside the container, the variable is visible to anyone or anything. Outside that container, there is no way of accessing that particular variable. There are basically three levels of scope you need to know: global, function, and block scope. Let's start with the global scope. Variables declared at the top level of your code live in global scope. They are accessible everywhere. In this particular example, we have declared a global variable named global var, which is accessible from throughout the program. It can be accessed globally, like here. It can be accessed inside this function, and it can be accessed inside these braces as well. Simple, right? But here's the warning. Avoid global variables when you can. They can cause conflicts and make your code harder to debug. Now, function scope, also known as the local scope. Variables declared inside a function only exist inside that function. In this example, local var is visible inside the function greet. But when you try to access it outside that function, the compiler will throw an error. See what happened? Once we left the function, local var was dropped. In rudimentary terms, it disappeared. That's the function scope in action. Here's the key. Function scope is created every time the function runs. Each call gets its own container. That is why, in this code example, the two function calls are two separate environments with their own scopes. Each time we call counter, we get a fresh count variable set to 0. Then there's block scope. All variables and functions are block scoped, meaning they only exist inside blocks like if statements, loops, or just curly braces. As you can see, block var is valid inside the if statement, but outside the curly braces, it disappears. That is, it is dropped. Most of the programming languages implement what is known as scope chaining. Let's understand this with an example. In this example, let's start with the inner function. We find the inner variable in the current scope and log it. Then, we are not able to locate the middle variable, so we keep traversing from current scope to the parent scope to find that variable. In this example, middle is found in the parent scope. In the third case also, it's neither in the current scope nor in the parent scope, so we keep traversing until we reach the root parent. In this case, we find the outer variable in the grandparent scope. The inner function can access everything, but the outer function cannot access the variables defined within the inner function. The scope chain only works downward. Remember, scope is about access. Use it to your advantage, declare variables in the narrowest scope possible, and avoid globals, and you'll write cleaner, less buggy code. Thanks for watching. Drop a comment if you have any questions about scope, and I'll see you next time.